Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me for a moment of silence and prayer. All right, thank you, everyone. You can be seated. Welcome, everyone, to the last meeting of 2025. First up on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and I will move that.
Second.
All right, motion by Bittinger, second by Nelson. Any comments or changes? All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0, excuse me. Consent agenda, items 2 through 4 constitute a consent agenda of routine action items to be considered by one motion. Items pass unanimously unless a separate vote is requested by a board member. Item number 2 is approval of the minutes of the December 23, 2025 meeting. Number 3 is approval of claims. And number 4 from Human Resources is Melissa Thomas. It's the approval of the memorandum of personnel transactions. And with that, I'll move the consent agenda, but with one edit change on the minutes from the December 23rd meeting. Joshua helped me with this, but we need to make one change. I will move on the minutes on 9E. I'll move to strike if determined, also approved with the condition of restricting. Strike that and replace with and a restriction limiting. So on 9E, strike out if determined, also approved with the condition of restricting. Strike that and replace with and a restriction limiting. So that's all that I have on that. We need to change in the minutes. So with that, I'll move that with those corrections.
Second.
All right, motion by Bittinger, second by Nelson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes 5-0. And that's the end of the consent agenda. On item 5, from County Auditor Michelle Scaff, it's the approval of the COT Systems Record Hub Services contract. Michelle, I'll turn that over to you.
Yeah, so this is a pretty simple item in that in order to be ADA compliant, we have to have a new way to access our records. So this is just a approval of something that was approved back in February to make it ADA compliant.
Okay. All right. Any questions by the board? All right, I'll move to approval.
Second.
All right, motion by Bittinger, second by Nelson. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes 5-0. All right, we're almost to our 4:35 p.m. set time, but we have a couple more minutes with that. We'll go on to item 7 from Secondary Roads, Laura Sievers. Laura, if you want to come up and at least get us going. We've got about a minute here, a minute and a half. And this is to approve Secondary Roads to move forward with the fiscal year 2027 equipment. So go ahead, Laura.
All right. Thanks for talking about the secondary roads equipment budget a little bit sooner than you guys get into your budget talks this year. So our equipment is aging quite substantially, and I think it's directly affecting the traveling public. And so with that, I'd like to see if we can maybe increase the budget from that line item from what we've normally done. In fiscal year 2027, I was going to ask the board if we could purchase a motor grader, a mechanic's truck, being that we currently don't have a mechanic's truck, a tool truck, an engineering department pickup, skid steer and trailer, mowers, and then 6 tandem trucks with trailers. And the reason why is we have 130.
Right. Laura, we're at our 4:35
Yep.
p.m. set time.
That's
Come
fine.
right back to you. Thank you, Laura. We are dying to hear the rest of that. We want to know. All right, with that, we're at our 4:35 p.m. set time from Board Administration. Heather Satterite. This is the public hearing and sale of property parcel ending in 7001, AKA 1724 Rock Street. And so at this time, we will open up the public hearing. The minimum bid is $30,177. $30,177 for that. And so with that, we will open up the public hearing. If you want to bid on this property, please come up and name and,
Well, the bidding's after the.
oh, bid, I'm sorry. Thank you, Matthew. Sorry, I apologize. Thank you. Sorry. If you want to speak for or against this, I apologize. Excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. If anybody
Seeing no
wants-
public comment, Mr. Chair, I move the public hearing be closed.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, motion by Nelson, second by Dietrich. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. I apologize, board. Now, if you want to bid on this property, please come. Just state your name and just, what is your bid? And remember, the minimum bid is $30,177.
My name is Dustin Berg, and minimum bid $30,177.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Anyone else wanting to bid on this property, please come up at this time.
My name is Robert Baker. I bid $35,000.
Okay. Thanks, sir. All right.
What was that last bid?
35,000 even.
My bid would be 37,000.
Okay.
$40,000.
My bid would be 42,000.
$45,000.
My bid would be 47,000.
$50,000.
Okay. Any other bids? All right. Go ahead.
Seeing no more bids, I move the property be sold to Robert Baker for the amount of $50,000.
Second.
All right. Motion by Nelson, second by Dietrich?
Carper.
Okay.
I'm
I thought-
Carper.
Carper. Gotcha. I saw Dave lean in. I thought it was Dave. All right, by Carper. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you. Yeah, you can see Heather right here for that. All right. Now back to item number 7 from Secondary Roads, Laura Severs, to approve Secondary Roads to move forward with the fiscal year 2027 equipment.
All right. Yeah, so with 130 vehicles, 130 vehicles and heavy equipment together for secondary roads, I just feel that maybe in previous years, we were doing a good job of saving taxpayer money and probably not maybe keeping up with where our equipment needed to be at. For comparison, I was in a smaller county that had half of the employees and half of the equipment, and we were near, 1.5 million. And if I look back, all the way back to 2018, Woodbury's never been at 1.5 million for secondary roads equipment in a fiscal year. A little bit over $1 million, and then quite a few years under $1 million. And with that much equipment, I just feel that we've been behind previously, and so that's why this year we're trying to do a little bit of a catch-up. I'd like to talk a little bit about the different types of equipment that we have that are our major concern. One is the tandem trucks. The tandem trucks are used for our snow plowing, gravel hauling, and then the continued progress on the gravel road project. The gravel road project has probably also, because of the demand on the truck, has probably also, kind of quickened that process of really working those trucks hard. We had a tandem truck this year that's, needs to be used every single day. It was used once in May and once in December, and otherwise it's been down for repairs because parts aren't available, or, it's hard to take on a big project like that. It's a major overhaul, and so I just think of any county employee that didn't have a laptop or whatever typical piece of equipment they're using, if they could only use it once in May and once in December, that's a piece of equipment or computer or whatever that, needs to be replaced, and that needs to be replaced. I would say that I think our tandem trucks need to be on a 10-year rotation. They're not currently on a 10-year rotation. I think that when you get to 200, 250, 300,000 miles, that truck needs to go, or it's really gonna start costing us more than what we're using it, or what we're able to use it. Some of the things that are our biggest costs right now that we're seeing with our tandem trucks are the emission-related systems. So, the valve, the DEF system components, the suspension or lack thereof on those trucks has really caused a lot of issues for our tandems most recently. And as you know, we do spend a lot of money in our repairs for our equipment. So then we have our motor graders, which is, 21 of them out in the county. If we'd put that also on a 10-year replacement cycle, that would help us catch up, at 21. And we haven't been buying 2 a year, so I would say, in future years, not only talking about this budget, but in future years, probably looking at maybe trying to get our motor graders on a 10-year rotation. That gets them closer to about 10,000 hours, 12,000 hours. That's where you're hopefully, with John Deere's, hopefully you're going to be, for us, getting rid of that piece of equipment right before you see, a transmission replacement or a full engine replacement that, is 30-some thousand, 40-some $1,000 replacement that we will do if we have to do, but then how long do you keep that piece of equipment? And I don't think your investment that you put into that repair was worth what you're gonna get out of it. So on top of all of that, there is a new emission requirement, more stringent requirement that's coming out in 2027. And so that was my big push with the tandem trucks and why I'm asking to possibly purchase 6 this next fiscal year would hopefully get us a couple years to not have to buy tandem trucks to avoid the brand-new emission system that's going to be coming into that style of truck. The issue with that is that, they don't know what problems it's going to have until it's out on the road. And so you'll have parts that break in that emission system, and it then, there's a backlog of that part. It's not available. And so you have a brand-new truck, sitting at a dealership waiting for that, warranty part to come in and get replaced on that truck. So again, I think that I'm trying to, in most years, trying to purchase 2 tandem trucks, 2 motor graders, but specifically for this fiscal year, I think that ordering 6 pre-2027 emissions trucks would probably put us ahead in the long run. We have tandem trucks that really need to be replaced anyways. It isn't like we'd be getting rid of anything that's not over 250,000 miles. There is one tandem truck that we'd be getting rid of that is under, but that's the one that sat and wasn't used all summer and all fall. So I guess I feel like it is a big ask, but I feel like we have saved the taxpayers' monies in previous budgets, and, now is the time that it's caught us and we need to, maybe put some money into secondary roads, new equipment budget. I'm pretty worried about the 2027 emissions. I think that we do need to try to gap that. I don't think we want a first-year truck. I think as that becomes big news, I'm trying to be ahead of the news. It's not too big if you look online. There's not a lot of news. Your fleet magazines are talking about it, but not big media is talking about it. And once people start having those issues, it's going to be in the news, and we're going to be too late if we have to buy one of those trucks. So trying to gap a couple years. With all this, I've talked to, and our foremen have talked to vendors, our mechanic, other mechanics, the operators. The new trucks that we are getting are going to be better for them, better job done. I feel like it's going to be a better piece of equipment that's going to last us a little bit longer. So right now, we're in a unique situation where, like in 2027, you're going to see us have an increased new equipment budget, but we're still going to have those same line item budgets for repairs because we still have quite a bit of, equipment that's nickeling and diming us every single time it goes out. So it is a big ask. Again, I can go through it, but it is a $3 million equipment budget, and I'd be asking for a motor grader, a mechanic's truck, a pickup for the engineer group, skid loader and trailer, a tool truck, 6 tandems, and then we'd really like those trailers that can haul, double the load to get this gravel road project up and beyond what we're doing right now, and then some mowers that just really need to be replaced. So, and again, the reason why I bring this up is I think it's a big ask. I thought it was a good item to talk about, and if we got the nod ahead and if it would work, whether we bid or get quotes for this equipment, it'd be nice to be on the upper end of 26 so that we can actually make the purchases maybe as soon as we get into fiscal year 27, as long as the budget can handle those large purchases. So that's my thoughts. Probably have questions, so.
I understand it's tough to estimate this, but what could you say could happen to the maintenance budget if you got all of this? If there would be any sort of a decrease to the net cost for the taxpayer?
Yeah. So, for instance, the 6 trucks that we were going to, the tandem trucks that we were going to get rid of, right now, 2 of them are costing us $10,000 a year in repairs. Another one is the one that hasn't ran all year or, half this year, and we don't have all the bills for that, but it's over $10,000. So those are the small things right now that would be happening as soon as the equipment came. But the other things I think would be just in the long haul. If we've had, let's see here, so for instance, the 2012 International tandem truck, we've spent $100,000 in emission repairs on that truck. So in 13 years, 100,000. So, I still say that you're still looking at 10,000 a year every year for at least quite a few of these years if we're going to find a better truck, a more established truck, a better emission system, because I just assume that 27 more restrictive system is going to have more downtime, but I don't know how to give an exact estimate of the savings.
The tandem pups that we purchased, was that a couple months ago? We haven't gotten those in yet, have we?
No.
My only concern on 6 additional is that we haven't seen how our trucks will pull those in the hills yet. It's not tested, so that would be my only concern is we've got 3 coming.
Yes.
That'd be my concern as we get those 3, and I think for a lot of places they are gonna work, because we do have flat spots, but and running on some of the hills, my concern would be we get 6 more, and then we find out that we really can't even keep 3 of them occupied. But if we use those 3 and we can make them work in some of these hills, then these 6 are gonna be a no-brainer, because we can haul a lot more with the same truck, and those trailers are cheap and they're not a high maintenance item either, But that would be my concern on the pup trailers at this point in time.
Can I talk to you about that? Okay, so possibly we could be getting these trailers that we have ordered, 3 of them. We could possibly see them early spring. We could definitely get using them. And, so then in fiscal year 2027, we probably, again, wouldn't get them till spring. So if you want to remove it from the, budget, we could. I don't mind that, but I also think that if it doesn't work, we could also just not buy them. It would be in the budget, but we just wouldn't do it. Or are you saying take them out? Just
Right,
asking,
Right, we could leave them in and just not purchase yet.
yeah.
Give direction.
But yeah,
not
I definitely
purchase.
agree. I think we should definitely see how they go. They are the belly dump style, so it is a company, pretty neat company right out of Early, Iowa. It's a really good machine. I know quite a few people over that way and asked about the company, and a great family-owned company that builds a real good quality product, but I don't mind seeing how the ones that we've purchased, or not purchased yet, but is being built for us, how they work.
Laura, what's the average, like over the last couple years we've spent on the major maintenance budget or the equipment budget? And then going forward for the next couple years, would this kind of decrease those years a little bit, or would we kind of be looking at the same average? Not the 3.1, I know
Right.
that, but.
So I have numbers back to 2018, and from 2018 to 2021, we were in the $800,000 range. And then in 2022, we go up to 1.1 million, the same in '23. Fiscal year 2024, we were at 1.4 million. Fiscal year 2025, we were at 1.1 million. And the issue with that is that a truck did not get built in that fiscal year. So it's being absorbed in, or 1.2 million in 2025, and it's being absorbed in this fiscal year's budget because it wasn't done in 2025.
Would this likely be a CIP item? Ryan?
I'm not sure if, unfortunately, vehicles have been excluded from CIP. But I don't know, this isn't your normal kind of vehicle, so I'd have to, maybe reach out to Jason Comiskey the one comment I'd like to add to this is, we haven't received the budgets for fiscal '27 yet, officially. Laura has turned it in to me for secondary roads. And right now, yes, there is an increase of about $1.6 million in new equipment. But she has gone through her budget and lowered other items. And if like construction on bridges went down by 1.3 million. The granular is down by 500,000. So she has gone through her budget to make sure that this doesn't increase by 2 million, So she has gone through and made adjustments to decrease other line items to offset this increase. And I don't know if you need to ask her any more questions on those, but so she's not asking for an increase in the budget. She is just asking for an increase in this line item while decreasing others.
You're saying right now the overall increase is approximately 1.6?
For in the current year budget for new equipment is $1,584,000. What she's asking for in the fiscal '27 is $3,115,000. So that line item is increasing by 1.6, but she's making other adjustments through other line items that, at least right now, the proposed department budget, because we don't have the payroll numbers in yet, is a net, it's basically a net zero increase. So that, that's where, as I just want to point out, that even though she's asking for an increase here, the overall budget isn't increasing.
I would disagree with that. Once you put in the numbers for all of the employees and the benefits, I am over my revenue budget. And the reason why is the equipment and this road project on L27 that we wanted to take care of while we have state money taking care of D38 east of Anthon. But that's budgeting the whole project. That's one of those things that unfortunately, construction projects go usually halfway through. It's easy to just remove that road project and keep going forward with the equipment, when we get down to budget. But as of right now, what I have submitted, once you put in all the payroll and benefits, my expenditures are going to be over my revenue.
Yeah, and I think he said that. I think he said
Okay,
that payroll excluded.
yeah.
Mr. Chair, I think Joshua
Yes.
is going to follow up.
Go ahead, Josh.
Well, I know there's certain caps on the sources for secondary road funds and, how much can be allocated for that or, so I guess the board would have to look at what available sources there would be, that could go to it. I think we have gotten an answer from Jason before on, the, CIP funds for, well, it was the TIF increment funds related to the gravel road project and whether portions of that could be used for purchasing trucks to assist with that program. So I would expect that it would be a similar answer on that. But yeah, I think it would be helpful for the board to know the exact amount that it would need to find from other sources above what the normal secondary road fund levy would be.
Ryan, can you pull that right now up, or do you need to calculate that?
Well, we don't have payroll
Pay- right.
numbers in, so until we get those, I can't answer that.
Okay.
What I had done was I had just done a 2% increase on all the numbers that I see. And that's where I see that I go over.
What's the over amount that you're seeing
Oh,
for?
I don't,
Haven't found it, okay.
I don't have that, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Laura, when do you, and specifically with this agenda item, you want to, the concern is ordering the 6 tandems, or the 6 tandem trailers as soon as possible, right? That's the main
That was the
impetus?
hopefulness because, just like, when people buy vehicles, usually 2027 models come halfway through, maybe in the, maybe even before halfway through the next, year. And so I was just trying to see, even though we're not going to purchase it, could we start working through being able to purchase to still get the 2026 model or
Right.
pre-2027 trucks, so.
Okay.
So by move forward, we mean get specific quotes
Or bids or whatever it takes to
or
do that.
bids?
And I did have that question about what the procurement process that's being anticipated would be, and we had a little bit of a discussion before the meeting on that. And I wasn't aware that there was prior communication with the board in regards to what you envision for a procurement process. But I did want to raise the issue as far as whether our FEMA procurement policy would apply to the equipment purchases. I think historically we followed that when we've done equipment purchases. I haven't specifically looked into whether we're required to do that or not, but I think it's something that we should take a look at to make sure that we're not running afoul of that. And I agree that I don't think there's anything at the state level that requires the competitive bidding for secondary roads equipment. But I think our Woodbury County internal policies may at this point, and if there's a rationale or a reason to do it differently, the board could discuss that, but I think the proper process would be to change the policy prior to deviating from what the current policy is.
FEMA does not require any documentation of how we purchase the equipment we use. FEMA has rates. We don't get to decide how much we charge for our equipment used. They tell us what rate that we get per hour, and that's what we do for FEMA. And I'd be, we'd all want to look at that FEMA procurement use paper for that purpose, because we just don't want FEMA to see what our procurement policy is and then, not be able to obviously get some FEMA funds. So, yeah, due diligence on that, correct.
Yeah, what's hard is just not, at this point in time, because it's so early, say early in the budget process, it really hasn't even started, but that's what's tough here, is that we don't have a crystal ball as far as, is 2% enough? Is it 5%?
Right.
Is it 7%?
Right.
So that's what's tough there, and we don't know what some of the other departments are gonna look at either, as far as what their asks are for their even bare minimum of what they have to have. And so that's what makes this really difficult, is it's just so early in the process. And I'm appreciative of getting ahead of the curve, because you're right, anytime you have a new model change or whatever, there's bound to be issues. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. And then when it comes to the emissions, it's just one nightmare after the next. So I absolutely appreciate that. It's just hard, we don't have a financial crystal ball.
Right. Makes sense to get ahead of everything. What's the latest you think you even need to order? I mean, I know it's hard to predict, but if you had to just guess for the board, what?
The truck vendor that we were finding that was probably going to be one of the lowest priced vendor for this style of tandem truck had wanted it at the beginning of the year. So that's why I knew it was too early to bring it to you, but I was just trying to, see if that would work. And like I said, the best I can do is that I have 2 million sitting in new construction for road equipment, for the L27 project. That is for the total project. I don't see that, it could possibly not even have a single dollar paid out of the fiscal year 2027 budget. So, we push it to the next year's fiscal budget, and we tell the contractor they can't start before July. If it would come that I need to find the money, that's how I would. If you took action on this today and, there wasn't enough money to cover that road project in the end of your budgets, that's the best I can do on easing your concerns if you have them right now. But I do realize it's a big ask, and it's a big ask right now, so, yeah.
Yeah, because your idea was to asphalt resurface L27 when the plant
Correct.
was set up.
Yeah,
for
it's,
D38.
for instance, Virgil's been around forever, and he said that it's the only road that he hasn't resurfaced. So, in the last 30 years, it needs it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's nice when you have a contractor nearby, you get a better price for your state dollars, and you get a better price for our local dollars. We do have a project coming up the following year too in that area, so it was just, again, just trying to move along on our roads and take care of them and take care of our equipment, and, yeah.
So, worst case, say we did this order and you had to push, you'd push that road off a year, basically.
Yep.
I don't know, just so I'm aware, I know we talked about this, but what do you think the savings are for one of those Western Star trucks compared to what, if I'm talking money, then maybe I'm out of, maybe I can't, but the price of those compared to what, I know you just recently got one and they were the low price anyway. The savings on one of those compared to anything else, or the next nearest one, and maybe going to the next model year, nearer model year.
Yep, that is true. So they're saying with the new emission system, there's this $10,000 to $30,000 range. You see a lot, $20,000 that the new system will cost us to have on those trucks. And so, yeah, so when you take 20,000 times 6, you're looking at possibly, I don't know, 120,000, 100,000, something like that. Okay, so the Western Star has really served Woodbury County well. So we would probably focus on that type of tandem truck. And then when you're looking at different vendors, you're looking at, some are 10,000 more, some are 15,000 more. So it just all depends on, the real small little features. The reason I think this year we were able to buy them for maybe $289, and we're seeing that next year's quote will be, $300, $309, something like that. So tariffs, different costs. It sounds like the electronic systems are going up a little bit this next year. So equipment costs are always going up. It seems like a 5 or 10% increase. You don't get to cry about because everything does that. So, but yeah, I really believe that new emissions system will either, at the lowest end, I saw a 10, but I really think we're going to be in that 20 to 30,000 more per truck.
What's the normal, if we go out for bid, what's the length that you give companies to bid on these? Remind me, do we set a certain length? Or is that in our policy we give? I'm drawing a blank on that one.
I don't know what we
Okay.
would give them, but, 2 weeks,
2
a
weeks,
month, just probably as soon as we could see if they can get turned around,
Sure.
so. I don't know how we do this, and we can look at it different ways, but also if, maybe just bid out the chassis and have the dump box and snow equipment and electronic controls and all that put on. We have a great local vendor. Steffens is doing a great job for us. They really care about how they put that truck together for us. Really make sure the operator, can use the cameras and can, be comfortable in how they're doing their job every day and making sure they can see everything they need to see. So maybe trying to find a way to also be able to work with them.
Yeah.
I know that Plymouth County is going there with their trucks also this year, so.
And the reason I ask is if we go out to bid, could we give ourselves 3 weeks to get some information, maybe we get the payroll numbers? And follow our policies and make sure we
Yeah.
do our due diligence.
And then it'll just depend on if any vendors still have the 2026 trucks, right? So I don't know how they do that. I
Right,
don't know if certain vendors suppliers are able to, get more because they buy more in bulk. I assume that you buy so many and because you're going to be able to get rid of that many, so, yeah. We could work through that process.
But what's the time frame on getting the payroll and that kind of stuff? Because that's a lot of work for you guys
Right.
too.
It should be done within a week or two,
Okay.
I believe. It is a busy time, but it's well due.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess my thought is kind of, if you already have built in, a thought in your head that yes, replacing a road is good and we need to keep up on that as well. But if it gets pushed off 1 year and you have, a $2 million, cushion there. So that means, we would have spent 1.1 million on equipment.
Right.
Plus the 2 million for that, for 3.1. This is, it seems like a significant savings, kind of getting ahead of the curve, getting some of our equipment upgraded to take care of our roads, especially, we've seen every Saturday for how long the snow dumped on us. And I don't know, Mark, if the thought of cutting the pup trailers in half or taking them off, but or, those will probably go up next year as well. That's why I'm kind of curious too. If we're trying to, I'm sure you have it laid out, Laura, what your thoughts are for the next however many years, but what your budget, your equipment budget looks like for 28 and 29, possibly as well.
Yeah, I think that to keep a healthy budget, I think, or keep healthy equipment and, afford it in our budget, I think we should definitely be looking at the 1.5 million from here on out for new equipment purchases. I think, off the top of my head, you put 2 tandems, and so that's 600,000. You do 2 motor graders, that's 800. So now you've already spent, 1.4 million. You got to keep pickups rotating through. Once in a while, we'll have, a big ask of, would like to, replace a dozer or, an excavator. Once in a while, we're going to need, a loader and things like that. But those would be not in a continual rotation. But by the time you get, 2 pickups, 2 tandems, and 2 motor graders, I think you could eventually get to a really healthy equipment and vehicles, and I think that puts us at 1.5 million already. It's crazy. It is just crazy how much it costs. But we see what happens when we get a little bit behind. So, and I would like to say that we are spending a lot of money on repairs right now. I think the mechanic was a great idea. I know we've already saved, his salary this year in outside labor cost. I'm seeing the parts come down from where they were. I should have brought in that, but I think that we're slowly going to be able to find some more money with that source of not spending so much on outside labor repairs and parts repairs and, finding cheaper parts, but good parts that we can put on our equipment, so.
There's not going to be a law in a couple of years that says all 2026 models are illegal, right? Just waiting for that shoe to drop.
Right.
So I will say that President Trump has talked about this twice. He talked about it in March. He recently talked about it in November. It still looks like he's going to allow the emissions to go forward, but maybe greenhouse gases, look at that restriction and maybe lessen that. So, he has a whole bunch of 2027 type model engines coming through. Those need to be put in trucks. And so I think the emissions is going to go forward. But I have reached out to all of our legislators, state and federally, and told them how much this is costing us and how much problems we already have with a less restrictive system, and to support Trump if he ever wants to talk about it. So, yeah.
I'm just wondering if you couldn't purchase everything at once, could you maybe have a list of things that you absolutely have to have? And, because I know probably everything on the list is things that you definitely need, but maybe there's a list of things that you absolutely have to have if we can't purchase everything.
Yeah, as we work through this budget, I think that's all I ever said through the whole budget process is we're only asking for things we need. Nothing on this list is a want. If anything, there's more needs that aren't on the list. So.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to correct us. If we do this equipment and the road, it would increase, the budget by $2 million. So I think that is it can't do both.
Right.
You'd have to do, if we did the equipment, then that, road project would need to be pushed into like fiscal '28. And that's where, again, she had gone through like, I don't know if you can explain the decrease in the bridges budget.
Yeah, I had just looked at previous years on the bridges that we have done in the past for local funding, whether it was repairs or new, and just, maybe it always budgeted a little high because, in case you have a FEMA event, you have your money available to you. And so just kind of took some of those numbers down pennies by pennies. Also, it looks like we don't need to purchase maintenance gravel this year. We have enough stockpiled and enough still under, where we can use that. So it's kind of just trying to gap a couple different large line items to afford this equipment without having to ask for money outside. But again, if we can do the road project, I think that would be good too, so.
That's, like I said, the current year budget for bridges is 2.4 million, and the, I'll say, current draft is 1.2 million. So, as I said, she has gone through and, tried to make cuts to help offset this increase for new equipment.
Well, it seems like in the cycle secondary roads, right? The board took action with the roads, with the gravel, and those are being updated.
Yep.
And this just seems like this might be the cycle of equipment. I learned today we have some trucks that are 44 years old, my age. I learned we had a wheel come off one of our tandems with one of our county employees in it, coming to a stop sign. But some other things. So to me, it's a little concerning. Luckily, no one was hurt.
So you're saying the wheels are literally falling off?
Literally falling off, yes.
That's secondary roads?
Yeah, so that was
It's that Correctionville area.
Dump truck.
dump truck, yeah, dump truck wheel fell off.
Wheels in the dump truck go round and round without the dump truck.
I know, it's tough
Yeah.
for me to ask this big ask, I realize that, but I do believe that, it's probably been a line item that's, been underfunded, and it just felt like it was a good time to bring it to all of you and to at least ask if you feel the same about this, and, if we could really invest in our equipment and vehicles and secondary roads this fiscal year, so.
What are the mobilization savings if we do L27 this year when the plant's set up?
Right,
And then a
mobilization.
couple 100,000?
Yep, mobilization is always over 100,000 for an asphalt project. And what I always say about asphalt and concrete, anytime you can get over 10 miles and get a contractor bidding that, you get out of the smaller contractors. Big contractors aren't gonna bid anything under 10 miles, and so once you bring them in, there's cost savings that a bigger contractor can show you on your projects. But again, I did budget the entire project, and more than likely, as you guys saw, on the other D38 project, it was not done by July 1. So we could look at if we wanted to keep that or make sure that it's never spent in this coming fiscal year. We could just say that they can't start it till July 1 because the funding isn't there. So, yep, we have those opportunities.
Okay.
Because we could trim, one truck's 304,000 with the dump body, a pup 75,000 apiece. So if you cut it in half, as far as the ask, that's 1.137 million. If you fund 4 of the trucks for the pups instead of 6, that's a savings of difference of 750,000. So there's different ways we can slice it too, to whatever we think we can afford.
Right, and that's what I've thought about too, is obviously somebody was gonna ask, how can we cut it, right? And so the issue is how do you gap 2 years when we have, okay, so the international trucks are the ones that are causing the biggest problem on repairs. So if we at least got rid of those, okay, the other 3 trucks that we would keep, one has 310,000 miles on it, one has 303,000 miles on it, and the other one has 253,000. You put 2 more years on it trying to gap these years, and let's say we're putting 30 to 40,000 on, you're asking a lot of a truck to be up in the 400,000 miles on our gravel roads, hauling gravel, 22 weeks a year, and then snow, and I just feel like I don't want to have trucks down during snow season. I don't want to have trucks down during gravel hauling season. And so that's it. How do I gap then the 2 years to try to not get the brand-new 2027 emissions trucks until the kinks can be worked out? That's why I have a problem not doing all the trucks, and we can do it, we'll do it if we have to.
Yeah, the problem is the 2027 emissions requirements, right?
Yeah.
That's the cutoff. That's what we're being forced into. I look at this as being here when we did the $10 million TIF project, and that was a great idea, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That is what got us to where we are, and that is what meaningfully improved the number one rural concern we heard from our constituents. We always knew that at some point that would have a taxing impact upon our equipment, and we're seeing, we have had to make that known to the public for a couple of years, and we've been saving the money where we can, so we haven't been making these purchases. But at some point, we do need to say, this is what the gravel road improvements cost. It cost us our equipment. We diverted the TIF dollars and we used those funds for the gravel, but it came at a cost. And I want to support as much as this as I possibly can during the budget cycle. I'll lean on others with more expertise as far as figuring out which particular models are of greatest need, which ones have, we're waiting on other equipment to come in to see if it could substitute or if we don't need to make all of these purchases. But I'd like to see the board do everything short of actually spending the money today as far as giving you authorization to look at what you can purchase that are 2026 models, how we can get those exact prices. I don't think we need to wait until payroll comes in because we know payroll is going to increase the budget for every budget. We can't do anything about that. So that's what I have to say about it. It just feels like it's part of it's the last chapter in this saga that's nearing completion. And if we don't do this at all, then we've traded we've handled the larger crisis, but we've achieved a smaller one along the way, which would be unfortunate because then we'll have to tell people gravel issues are not being handled because the trucks are down when we have the gravel on the road. So yeah, I think it's, you're right to bring it up. We're right to have this discussion, and I want to see as much of this happen as possible. I think it's an easy case to make as long as we have the legal wherewithal and the budget strength to do it. But yeah, the timing is just forced upon us with this. If we wait, we have a guaranteed increase.
Right.
Just like other big projects we've undertaken, we've been guaranteed an increase, or we do it now. And it seems like this increase is larger than the typical increase year to year. So, seems like the year is now.
I'm with you, Matthew. I'm fully supportive of this, getting the equipment. I mean, we have 130 pieces of equipment, and a lot of them are aging and having issues. We have to begin to address it. So I think we could we could give direction, make a motion. I'm just thinking out loud here, we could do a motion to go ahead and go out for bid for these 6 to get some prices, more of a finality on the price.
Well, I don't know
Or
what
do we
the,
need-
if we're locking ourselves into a purchase at that point, if we have to, if it's no longer a budget discussion, but a reserve discussion.
Okay.
If we do it that way, but I'd like to know what's possible, like what out there is actually
Okay.
for sale that's a 2026 that would save us from this increased cost and headache.
But, Mr. Chair, there was another thing that we discussed about the ergonomics and the safety and the, driving these older pieces of equipment. And, you could look at chiropractic claims, medical claims, with, you're looking at the ergonomics and the comfort of these chairs and going down these gravel roads day after day after day after day is wearing on the bodies of the operators as well.
Well, what's the best route then? I'm trying to think what it's. Do we?
Well, it sounds like if we just forego the L27, then it doesn't matter much. It would just be an increase in the salaries. Is that correct, Brian?
Yes, at the moment, that would be, per what she turned in for the department budget, which is just operating expenses. I would say if we do this, then yes, the road would need to be pushed to fiscal '28. And, it could still be, summer of, July of '27, so not this coming summer, but the following, it could be started.
Right.
But the other items that she had, in the draft budget, it is either a very small increase or there wasn't much of a change on the overall, I'm gonna say, operating non-payroll related expenses.
Is some of that fuel prices going down, maybe?
That was one item I don't think I touched, and the reason why I don't think you should touch that is, a war somewhere can, make that price fluctuate, but,
Gasoline has come down a lot.
Right,
The diesel
right.
fuel really has not.
100%.
It's just
We're way
whatever
below
reason.
where we're budgeted for this year. I'm hopeful that we continue to see that trend, But I don't think that I should play with that number until.
Okay.
Well, if we can push that road off, if
Yeah.
that's the savings there. Laura, if you.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. What's the earliest you would know if you had state funding to do that road?
I can't get state funding for this road.
Okay, that's
D
county
38
only.
is one, this is, this
Okay.
does not qualify, so that's
right.
why it has to come from our local budget.
Okay.
But couldn't the road be added later on in this budget process if we have the money?
100%.
Or is that, yeah. So I think that's what we gotta do at this point, is just remove the road and approve this, and then that kind of is a wash, as Dennis would say. And then later on, because there is still some mobilization money that we could save if we can find a way to do L
Correct.
27.
Correct, yeah.
But if we can't, we can't. That's just,
Right.
but it's not like we need to know that we can do L 27 today or next week or the end of January. So,
Yeah, I think that's the answer. We're not having a budget review. We're not having a budget approval now, so
Right.
we can tell you, let's have your proposed budget come to us with this included and that out.
Okay.
And then go from there and see what we can do with the road.
Thank you.
I agree with that. Now, with that, do we, if we still need to, you're still concerned is getting the 6 trucks ordered, so we get the 26 models before and you're saying that we need to do that earlier, like January?
I was hopeful, yes.
Yeah. Does the board need to just give direction to go ahead and put bids out there? I don't want to lock us in, but I want to make sure we're following our own policy. Joshua, any say on that? If we,
Well, I guess my question is whether the board's comfortable doing it without a bidding process, or are you directing that it would be done via bidding process?
it's the Western Star dealer here in Sioux City.
There is one. It's higher than the one we're using in Minnesota. For the two trucks that we have this year.
Sure. I think it should probably be bid out.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we need to follow our policy
Yep.
on that.
Yeah, we'll get raked over the coals if we don't bid this out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, sounds like the board's consensus is we need to go forward with this. And as Matthew said, Lori, I come back with the road removed, and to go out for bid on these 6 trucks. So I guess the motion needs to be
It's just approve the
Secondary
FY
road.
'27 equipment budget.
Okay. All right. I
So I'll
will,
move it.
okay. Motion by Nelson.
No,
I'll
we'd be receiving it. We never really approved
Oh,
the
that's
budget
true.
until the
That's true.
budget adoption.
Received it, yeah.
We're adjusting it as we go until the last
Yeah.
date. We don't
That's
approve
true.
a 27 budget
So
now.
I'll move to receive
Yeah,
the fiscal '26, '27.
there you go.
Thank you. Secondary roads equipment budget.
All right, motion by Nelson. I'll second it. I'll give it to you, Dave. Second by Dietrich. All right. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Good discussion. You're clear, Laura?
Yeah, thank you so much for
Yeah.
allowing me to bring this ahead. So, thank you.
No, that's good. Okay. All right, thank you, Laura. All right, moving on to number 8, reports and committee meetings. All right, so hearing none? Okay, you got one? Okay.
We had a E911 board meeting last night. We had to have a public hearing for a budget amendment. Part of that was twofold. We're buying a kind of a package unit of Motorola radios for a bunch of rural departments that need to upgrade their radio equipment. And so it just came out of reserves, and they'd worked with Tina and had gotten all that figured out, so that was great. But the other part of it, Matthew Ung's going to get a kick out of this. We had to have a budget amendment because the state passed a law this past year. It turns out that the state 911 system is broke. They don't have any money. So they were faced with increasing the surcharge that pays for 911 service across the state of Iowa.
So you had to have a budget amendment to receive the extra money from the state to pay for that, correct?
You're so young and naive, Matthew. No, so how the 911 funding is, how that's collected and how your 911 systems are paid for is a surcharge on your landline phone, on your cell phone. If you look at your monthly statement, you'll have a little surcharge there. All that money goes back to your 911 operators and funds like the Woodbury County 911 Association. Well, the state they have not been taking care of their money, evidently. And so rather than increase surcharge, they've decided that they'll just take whatever money they don't have from individual counties. Because that's great. And you're going to like this, Matthew. They're going to bill us quarterly. We don't know what the charge is going to be. They don't know what the charge is going to be until they send the bill. They have no way to estimate what the charge is going to be. But we have, like 2 weeks to pay it once we get it. So that was really disappointing because our county, as well as other counties across the state, have been very fiscally responsible with the money. And the state, for whatever reason, cannot take care of the infrastructure. And here's the kicker. Guess whose infrastructure the state uses in Woodbury County? Ours. That's right. So we're paying to use our own infrastructure. So it just gets better and better. But anyway, I just feel bad because, this group does a lot of really good things for all of our first responders throughout the county, whether they're paid or volunteer, making sure that they have good radio equipment. And they kind of rely on this group to keep them in these radios. So a lot of these radios will be $10,000 a piece. They're very expensive. And so anything that we have to pay the state is less money that can go back to our first responders. And so that's what's really, really disappointing. But, that's the nature of the political climate that we're in. So that's all I have to report, I guess, on committee meetings.
Okay, thank you. The only report I have, just an update, the Iowa Department of Corrections, 3rd District. I represent the board on that one. They have a new director, Mark Covey. He's gonna be coming here to the board just to introduce himself, and so just want to give you guys an update on that, but he's been with the department for many years and looks like he's doing a great job, but he'll be coming just to introduce himself, and if the board wants to ask any questions about what did the Department of Corrections do here in Sioux City, so that's all that I have. All right, citizen concern, excuse me, number 9. Any of our citizens back here? Guys are welcome to come to the mic. All right, hearing none, let's move on to 10, board concerns. Only board concerns, remember, on Friday at 2 p.m. we have our Board of Supervisor meeting to elect a new chair, vice chair, and some appointments, so that's Friday at 2 p.m. here. Michelle, you're good? All right? Okay.
And Mr. Chair, I'll be a phone into that one.
Okay.
That's okay.
Perfect, okay. All right. All right.
Dave's gonna call in for that.
Yeah. Okay. All right, seeing other concerns, all right, we